So we're going to kick off this playlist for the study guide on ellipses, sorry. And the first thing we got to remember is the key characteristics of them, right? So first things first, ellipses are a central conic, right? Which means that they have a center. And the center is always HK, just like it was for a parabola and a circle. Okay? They also have foci. So the difference between an ellipse and a parabola is that a parabola has a focus, so it has a singular focus, whereas an ellipse has two foci, okay, that are always inside the ellipse itself. They're never on the outside of the ellipse. So if they are, you did something wrong. All right. And then we have two possible equations, right? We've got a horizontal major axis, which means that it just looks like a football, right? So it looks like that. And the formula for that is x minus h quantity squared over a squared plus y minus k quantity squared over b squared is equal to 1. So that means that the largest term for the denominator is underneath x for the major axis, right? And the way to figure out a squared and b squared and c squared and their relationship is that b squared is equal to a squared minus c squared. And then for the foci, which I label F1 and F2, with the horizontal major axis, it's h minus c comma k and h plus c comma k. Okay, so the k's, the points of the ellipse that are going to be on the same axis are vertical, right, rather than horizontal. Horizontal, we are growing and increasing on this because it's the horizontal major axis. The other possibility we have is a vertical major axis, and I like to think of it as looking like an egg. It doesn't really, but that's how I kind of remember it. Okay, so it looks like that. Maybe a zero, looks like a zero, all right? And its formula is x minus h quantity squared over b squared plus y minus k squared over a squared is equal to 1. And again, you still find b squared the same way. And the foci now will be moving along the x coordinates, or along the y coordinates. So we've got h comma k minus c and h comma k plus c. So our variation in our ellipse is along the vertical axis rather than the horizontal axis. So they should all be the same there. Okay. So let's look at some examples. So if you haven't caught on yet, on the study guide, there are two different types of finding and seeing an ellipse. Okay, the first is I gave you the equation of the ellipse and I want you to graph it and find its foci. So we'll get to that later when we do graphing. But the other way is I give you the foci and I give you the sum of the focal radii. Okay, so let's say we're looking at 3a on the study guide. 0, 0, and 4, 0, and then the focal radii is 8. Sum of the focal radii has to always equal 2a. Always. Okay? If you put 2b, you did something wrong. It's 2a. Always 2a. All right? And step 1 is to find the center. And so to find center, we're going to do midpoint. So we have 0 plus 4 over 2 and 0 plus 0 over 2. This is going to be 2, 0. That's my center, not my conic, my center. And then I need to figure out C and I need to find A. So let's find A first by setting 2A equal to 8, because 8 is the sum of the focal radii, so A must be 4. Then we're going to find C. Now, beforehand, I just told you to plug in formulas, but say you can't remember it. Here's the fastest way to find it. Do distance formula between the center and one of the foci. So 0 minus 2 quantity squared plus 0 minus 0 quantity squared equals square root of 4, which is 2. So C is 2, which means that C squared is 4. Okay? And A squared since A is 4, must be 16. So that means b squared is equal to a squared minus c squared, or 16 minus 4, which is 12. And so then we plug it into our standard equation. So we've got x minus 2 quantity squared. It's varying, if you notice, it's varying along the x coordinates. So this is a horizontal major axis. So x minus 2 squared over a squared, so that's 16, plus y minus 0 squared over 12 equals 1. And that's it. Okay? Let's look at one more. Say we're looking at 3D. So our focal radii this time, focal points are 0, 1 and 0, 3, and our focal radii is 4. So first thing we're going to do is find our center by using midpoint formula. So we get 0 plus 0 over 2, 1 plus 3 over 2 equals 0, 2. Then we're going to find A by setting 2A equal to 4. So A is 2. We're going to find C by using distance formula between center and a foci. So a focus here. So that's going to be zero minus 0 squared plus 1 minus 2 squared. So that's square root of 1 squared, negative 1 squared, so that's just 1. Okay, so c squared is 1, a squared is 4, and so b squared is equal to 4 minus 1, which is 3. And so then my equation is x minus 0 squared over, if you notice at the beginning, again, the points vary on the y coordinates, so this is a vertical major axis. So a squared is going to go under the y term, so this is going to be 3 plus y minus 2 squared over 4 equals 1. And that's my answer. Okay, and that's ellipses. That's it. That's how you find the equation of the ellipse. There's not a lot to it. And if you notice, they kind of follow the same formula over and over again. All you had to memorize is when you have a vertical versus horizontal major axis. That's it. Okay?